Is that okay? Can I do that? No? Okay. Wow, that was really good. We're in a new series called Goals. And in this new series, I was like weird talking about eating, you know what I mean? Like, when I grew up, I heard that I was like inappropriate to do that. Can I do that? Oh, here's the thing. Okay. We're in a new series called Goals, and the thing is, you guys have probably heard about goals before. Raise your hand if you heard the word goals. Well, that would be embarrassing if you haven't literally heard the word goals. Have any of you guys ever set any goals? Raise your hand if you set goals. What's the goal that you set? Once, ever. Stop eating so much. Yeah, like literally I can't even stop eating while I'm speaking. It's bad. That's one of my goals right now. What's another goal that you guys might have? A goal, yeah. Going to Canada. Oh, okay, that's a goal. I like that, Dante. Good grades, yes. Skydiving, okay, I'm feeling that. To make a cool school soccer team. Yes, doing devotions, so stop forgetting to do devotions. Yeah, these are all goals. So you guys know a little bit about goals. What about you, my man? Yeah, learning a new magic trick. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. So we all know a little bit about goals, but what I want to talk today about is something specific when it comes to goals. But before I get into it, I have something amazing to show you. Now, there are these little young people, these little humans that are goal prodigies. They set amazing goals. Have you ever been in a classroom, the 3rd, 4th grade, where a teacher hands you like, hey, write out your dreams for the future? Raise your hand if you ever got like a weird school work, yeah. So these 4th and 3rd graders got this, and being goal prodigies, they had an amazing solution to their goals. So here's a couple of amazing examples. These guys are just fantastic. When I grow up, I'm 7, but I want to be 8. That's a goal. Am I right? I want to be 8. Yeah, come on. Let's go to the next one. One of my favorites. When I grow up, I want to be a mailbox. Not a mailman. I want to be a mailbox. Like, forget the whole human thing. I know if I could just sit in front of someone's house and someone puts mail in my pocket, I'd be good for the rest of my life. Yeah, I don't want to be a mail. I want to be a mailbox. That's a goal. Let's go to the next one. This is my favorite. I will one day be a potato. I will. I can imagine this is like on one of those like boards right outside of the principal's office, and they have things like, I want to be a video game analyst. I want to be a baseball player. I want to be a potato. Like, what? You're back like, who said that? Anyways, there's good goals and there are bad goals. There's realistic goals and there's unrealistic goals. Can I tell you a story about when I was going into 7th grade? Okay, so here's the thing. Raise your hand if you were going into 7th grade. Going into 7th grade? Yep, so that was me during the summer, exactly like Dante, anyone. And I'm excited, I worked hard during the school year, am I right? You know what I mean? Like chemistry tests, and biology quizzes, and reading, and essay writing. It's a lot of work. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. You know what I want to do during the summer? Chill. I don't want to do nothing. So here's the goal for me. The goal was simply 2 words. Unlimited fun. That's all. All I was asking for, Dante, was unlimited fun. Is that too much to ask? So, it might be, who knows. We're in a minivan, in my minivan, of course, minivans are dripping with swag. That's a weird saying, maybe I should know. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, yeah. So I'm in a van, though, a minivan, right? My dad's driving, my mom's in the passenger seat, and my brother, Zach, is right beside me. And the thing about my family is my parents make the rules. Fun fact. So, as usual, my parents are talking. Have you ever been sitting in the back of the van or the car? You're trying to hear what your parents are saying? Raise your hand if you've been there. Yeah, that was me. So my dad turns to my mom and says, what should the goals be for the kids? Well, what's their schedule look like? And as I'm listening in, I'm very interested in hearing what my mom's going to say. And I can't hear every word, but I hear some words that were pretty offensive. Me. Actually, they cut pretty deep to the heart. My mom said the word chores. And I also heard the word early, waking up early. And not only that, but I heard my mom say homework. And at that point, I was so mad. At first I was like, oh, she's talking not about me. You know what I mean? Like, about everyone else but me. But evidently she was talking about me. So at some point my brother just screams, "We want to have unlimited fun!" And of course my dad and my mom, instead of looking at back and be like, "You're right," you know. And not only that, but I added into what my brother was saying. See, I'm a great communicator, if you can't tell. So the thing is, I really was supporting my brother. So of course, with my amazing words, I said, "Yeah, what he said!" So I knew that was convincing. You know, I knew that my parents would be convinced to be like, "You're right, unlimited fun, here we go." But instead of that, my mom and my dad had the nerve and the audacity to look at each other, and guess what they started doing? Laughing! They started laughing! They're like, I don't know if my dad laughs like Santa. But anyway, they're laughing. And then, of course, I'm like, "What is it, Dad?" And my dad's like, "Here's the thing. That's not how life works, son." Just kidding. Okay, but that's what he was doing. I was so fresh. He's like, "That's not how life works." See, the thing about my summer, the summer of 1985, just kidding, that was like 25 years ago. I don't know what summer it was, but it was before my 7th grade year. I ended up doing chores. I ended up doing homework, and I ended up waking up early. I know, Evan, I'm Ivan, I'm mad too. I'm mad about that too. So my goal was there, but I didn't complete my goal. Raise your hand if you ever had goals that you haven't completed. Ooh, yeah, I've been there. All you guys are like looking down the floor like, "Yeah, that's me." See, I think oftentimes, I think we set goals for faith, but then we don't follow through with our goals for faith, and we get mad at ourselves, or we get mad at God. So let's just use I as an example, because she used herself. I do this all the time. I do this all the time, and I, as my friend, does it as well. So sometimes we set goals for reading our Bible, but then we forget. And oftentimes what can happen if we forget to read our Bibles is this. We get mad at ourselves, we get frustrated. "Oh, I forgot to pray. Oh no, what do I do?" And one of three things usually happens. We're actually putting it on the screen. One of three things happens when we forget our goals for faith. Sometimes we struggle with faith because we feel, first off, faith just isn't for us. Maybe, again, you come into service, you feel like you just don't measure up. You feel like you're not enough because you don't read your Bible enough, you don't pray enough, you don't not swear enough, and then you just keep going on. Then you're just like, "Look, faith just isn't for me, not at all." Let's go to the next one. What about faith just isn't for me right now? You know, in the future, Dante's thinking, "Yeah, I'm going to be a great Christian, I'm going to say the right things, do the right things, but until then, I'm just gonna say what I want, do what I want, watch what I want." Because I don't really like the whole rule stuff. You know, I don't like the whole goal stuff. So I'm gonna wait until maybe I'm in high school or college when I like rules to be Christian. Let's go to the next one. Or maybe you think faith just isn't right. Maybe altogether you're like, "Look, I don't want to believe in a God who makes me feel bad about myself. I don't want to believe in a God who always makes me feel like I just don't measure up, like I'm just not enough." See, that's not the God I want to believe in, so I'm just going to go to service because my parents forced me to come to service, but I'm not going to listen, and I'm not going to really live the whole Christian life. See, and one of those three options almost always happens when we look at our faith like our faith is based off of rules. Let's put that on the screen. When our faith is based off of rules, a lot of certain things can happen, but oftentimes when we look at faith and follow God only through the lens of rules, we're actually missing the point entirely. See, I want to break a misconception today, but I don't want to do it just through my own words. What do you think I'm going to use to break this misconception? Ooh, my boy knows what it is. I'm about to use the Bible, Dante, to look at what it means to be a Christian. Is our faith based off of rules? It's like thinking like Sophia, she's wearing her glasses. It's like wearing glasses and looking at God through this lens of rules. Saying, only God will love me if I do these things. So I'm going to break that misconception, but I'm going to do it through the Galatians. What? Yes, it's a different planet. I don't know if you know, but there's Mars, Jupiter, Galatia. There's Pluto. Pluto's not even a planet anymore, right? So Galatians is a book in the Bible. And the thing about the Galatians is, what do you think the people were called? Galatians, not aliens, what? No. They were called the Galatians. The town was called Galatia. Now these Galatians were new Christians. Now the thing about Christians 2,000 years ago is this. This is what would have happened if you're a new Christian. Who shall I use as an example? Ryan. Ryan's like, "Jake, I want to be a Christian. I want to dedicate myself to Christianity." I'm like, "That's amazing. I love that, Ryan. Congratulations. Here's a list of 444 rules. You have to memorize those by tomorrow. Thank you so much. Would you be a Christian if you had to memorize 444 rules and follow them exactly? Well, that's kind of what the Galatians felt like they had to do. They had these big rule books. They were called the Jewish rules. And these Jewish rules had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rules in them. And they felt at some point, look, I don't want to be a Christian or do this whole Christian thing if I have to be, my faith be based off of a lens, glasses of rules. So then there's this guy named Pi, and enter this guy named Paul. Now, Paul was basically kind of like a rock star. This dude went from different cities to inspire people. Let's say this is the city like Corinth, or Corinthians is in the Bible. He's like, oh, you guys are amazing, guys are amazing movement. We got this, guys so big, guys got any problems. You guys are like, yeah. And then Paul, just like a rock star, would go to the next city and be like, yeah, guys, what's up? Yeah, the thing is, guys are amazing. You guys are doing a great job. You guys are courage. Like, yeah. And then go to another city and like, hey, what's up, Bob? Here's the thing about you guys. And then he just like coaches people up. But then he goes back home. He's like, oh shoot. I just wrote a letter to the Galatians because I heard they're getting mad and frustrated about the fact that they have to follow all these rules. So then Paul writes a letter, gives it to the pastor, someone like me, and the pastor sits down in front of all the Galatians and says, I have a letter from Paul. They're just like, oh my gosh, I love Paul, he's like a rock star. I'm going to listen. Now, what I'm guessing is the pastor, just like me, would be like, thinking that Paul would have said, yeah, follow these rules. Your faith is based off of rules. That's what I would think the pastor was going to think. So he sits down and reads this letter, and this is just a small excerpt of what's in this letter that Paul says to the Galatians. We're going to put that on the screen right now. So Christ, says Paul to the pastor, Christ truly set us free. Now make sure that you stay free and don't get tied up again in slavery to the law. It's slavery to the rules. Let's go to the next slide right there. Basically what he's saying is that our faith is not based on rules because Jesus came to set us free. So our faith is based off of freedom. So we don't actually have to follow these rules. We don't have to wear these glasses of rules and we have to make sure we follow everything we want to memorize them. We actually are free because of Jesus. And Paul goes on just to say this, the last part of one of the letters he says this. If you are trying to make yourselves right with God by keeping the rules, by keeping the laws, you have been cut off from Christ. You have fallen away from God's grace. Paul goes boldly for it and says, actually, if you believe that your faith is based off of rules, you're wrong. Like he basically says, like, you're living a wrong faith. This is not Christianity. Because what Christianity is believing that your faith is based off of freedom and not rules. Oh, okay, we're breaking misconceptions. We shout walls now. So that's the first misconception. You ready for the second one? The second thing I'm going to break? So first, we said our faith is not based off of what? It's based off of what? Freedom by Jesus dying on the cross, raising. Again, okay, so here is the next thing. I have an inkling. Do you guys know what inkling means? It's kind of a weird word. I have a feeling that a lot of you guys might feel like freedom means something that it doesn't mean. I actually have a feeling that you guys maybe have the wrong definition of freedom. I don't know. Because I think you guys maybe believe in cheap freedom. Let's say this is cheap freedom right here, okay? And let's say this is true freedom. You're like, Jake, what's the difference? I'm going to tell you right now. So I don't have it on the screen because I want to say this in story form. Now let's just say there's this guy named Noah, and let's just say God wanted to create a global flood. Is this a story in the Bible? Oh, what? That is. Do you guys know the story? Raise your hand if you kind of know the story. Noah's Ark. Oh, okay, you guys know a little bit. So basically, Noah was this man back thousands of years ago who lived in a world that wasn't good. God actually hated the world because there are so many terrible things happening to his people. And since he loves people, he hated all the bad things that were happening. So he's like, I'm going to send a global flood. I'm going to start over. I'm going to start the whole entire world over again. And so that's what he did. But it didn't seem like he was going to do it through a flood of all things. Why? Because it didn't rain for months and months and months. It didn't rain for so long. And then he told Noah, he's like, here's the thing, Noah. What I want you to do is I want you to build a boat. bro, I need you to build a big boat. Bro, brother, what do you think? Oh, okay. My bro is going to build a big boat. So he goes off. He's building this big boat for years and years. I can just imagine on a Friday night, his friends coming over and be like, hey, bro, why are you building a big boat? And he's like, I don't know, God told me to. I think it's going to rain. And they're like, you're crazy. It's not going to rain. You're dumb. I'm going to go drink alcohol in the bar. So the guys go to the bar on Friday night. They drink. They get drunk because they're alcoholics. That's just what they do. And then Noah's stuck over here building a big boat because he's a pro. Who do you think has freedom in that moment? Doesn't it seem like the people who are drinking have freedom? And Noah doesn't have freedom because he's trapped. He has to follow all these rules, right? And it's just annoying. But then I can imagine as Noah's building this big boat, rain hits his head. He's like, what the? And then rain hits his side, and then his leg. And then it starts raining more and more. And one day it goes by, and it's an inch off the ground. And then another day, and then another day. And then at some point, there's so much rain that the only people who could survive are people who had a boat! The bro built a big boat, and he was able to be on that boat. And guess what? He was able to survive the flood. So when the flood came, who had freedom? The alcoholics in the bar, or the guy who built a big boat with his bare hands? Yeah, the big boat man. The big boat boy. So many P's. But he had freedom in that moment. But what did he have to do to get that freedom? Right, but what does it take to build a boat? Listening, rules. It took him to have discipline to build a big boat. And while all of his friends did it. So who had freedom? Noah? And who was trapped? The alcoholics. Oh, so you guys kind of maybe understand a little bit what I was saying? Basically what I'm saying is those who believe in true freedom understand that they have to have rules for themselves so they can be someone in the future. When those, oftentimes who believe in cheap freedom, believe I can do anything I want, when I want, I can do what I feel, but then ultimately they are the same people who are trapped down the road. You're like, Jake, I don't really understand this. I need another metaphor. Maybe a more realistic one that deals with middle school. Okay, I got you. Raise your hand if you play sports. Any sports. Any okay, raise your hand if you play basketball. Okay? Like on a sports team. Okay. Raise your hand if you play volleyball. Oh. What? You guys? Wait, Camille and Dante? Sophia. I was like, what? I was confused. Okay, Camille. When does volleyball season start? Like practices. Like what month? August? Okay. So let's just say volleyball practice starts in August, okay? No, Camille, she wants to be really good this year. She's like, I'm gonna dedicate myself to being good at volleyball. So I've decided that the only time that I can practice, sadly, is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's the only time I can practice. I'm a little frustrated about it, but I get it. I can only practice from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's the only time. And all of her friends are like, hey, actually, I want to go to the beach from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Camille, do you want to come? And guess what Camille says? No. Why? Because she set rules for herself. Why? Because she wants to be good when volleyball comes, right? And her friends are like, are you kidding me, Camille? Bro, what the? Camille, come to the beach with us. She's like, nah, I'm good. I'm not building a big boat, but I ain't going to the beach with you. And the thing is, she's so frustrated because it's 10 a.m. and she's doing all of her workouts. She's trying to, I don't know, stretch, volleyball workouts, whatever that means. And she's mad because she seems like she's trapped and all of her friends have freedom at the beach. But let's just say, fast forward to game 1. Volleyball happens. The volleyball is finally hit up in the air, and then she goes up, and she jumps up, and poof, over the net. It is a straight, what's it called? Spike. It was a spike. She straight spiked the ball, and I was like, dang, that got velocity on that thing. That girl can hit a ball, oh my gosh. And then let's just say, the second time, she goes up, over the net, straight hits a girl in the forehead. That girl's straight knocked unconscious. She feels bad, but she also knows that she got power and velocity to that volleyball. And at the end of the game, she's evidently, Camille, the MVP. They pick her up, they're like, Camille. And she's so excited. And who's the MVP, Camille? Where do you think her friends are? No? They're playing volleyball. Where do you think they are? On the bench! They're on the bench. Why are they on the bench? Yeah, they went to the beach, and it's okay to go to the beach, but what they did is they did whatever they want, when they wanted, when they felt like it, and they were trapped down the road. But Camille knew what true freedom is. And true freedom is giving up short-term fun for long-term freedom. Camille, I'm so proud of you. Grew up kidding. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. Now, does that make sense at all to you guys a little bit? Yeah? So I want you guys to live into true freedom and not cheap freedom. So since your faith is based off of freedom, what I don't want you guys to do is first base it off of rules. But rules do play a part in freedom. Rules are a vehicle for you to get to that place of freedom. So if Sophia makes rules for her life right now, she could be better off in the future. But if Sophia doesn't make any rules for her life, she's going to be worse off in the future. Does that make sense? Pedro? Say it again. Yeah. Oh, she said, do I make it myself? Luckily, your parents do a lot of that for you. And you guys are like, oh, now I'm realizing why your parents don't want you to play video games all the time. Because what would happen if you play video games all the time? You'd be terrible at volleyball. So your parents are like, no, you practice from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. so you can be good at volleyball. Does that make sense? Now you realize why your parents set rules for you. Curfew. Instead of staying up till 5 a.m. every morning, which has definitely happened to me, and you're exhausted all day and get terrible grades, they're like, I'm going to have you go to bed early so you can be better tomorrow. So now, does it make sense a little bit why your parents set rules? Raise your hand if you, does that make sense, why your parents set rules? Raise your hand if you understand. Yes, because it's the best thing for you. But you know what happens when you're an adult? You have to set your own rules. Do you know what happens when you go into 7th and 8th grade? You have to set some of your own rules. So what I want to do right now is I'm actually going to not talk that much. I want to go through specific questions. Like, Jake, what do you mean? Jake, what? What? We are going to go through questions on these tables back here. So what I want to do is this. We're going to split up in 2 different groups. Now, what these 2 different groups are, we're going to go through certain questions. Now, these questions are going to be related to this thing called freedom, right? True freedom versus cheap freedom. And I'm going to put a question on the board right now. So go ahead and put the question on the board. And we're going to just answer 3 questions over the next 15 minutes. That's all. 3 questions over the next 15 minutes. But all of you guys have to answer these questions at your round tables. Does that make sense? So, is there a time in your life where you felt free? Now, you don't have to answer that right now, but I want you to be thinking. Since you have time right now to be thinking, again, you're going to have to answer the group. So, what's one time that you felt free? Maybe it was on a vacation. Maybe it was on the basketball court or the volleyball court. Maybe it was during a test. I don't know. When did you feel free? So think of that. And the second question is this. We're going to go to it right now. What is an example in your life where you gave up something fun in the moment for freedom in the future? Just like Noah was building the big boat with his bare hands because he was a bro. Or just like Camille, when she was practicing at 10 a.m. while everyone else was at the beach. Yeah. What she did, she gave up something short term so she could have true freedom on the volleyball court where everyone was yelling, Camille, Camille. Next one. Last one is this. What can you give up this summer so you can live into freedom? Since you've already been given freedom, I hope that you stay in that freedom with God by setting rules for yourself. So maybe that means giving up video games for 30 minutes a day so you can read your Bible. Let's go to give up waking up late one day of the week so you can wake up earlier and actually pray, or hang out with a friend, or hang out with your mom before she goes to work, which is what someone said last time. Let's go to the next one. Maybe you give up Wednesdays of video games so you can come to Wacky Wednesday with me and come chill at Aquatica or go to Lolita's when we do. Because you know that the best thing for you is to be around other people who are living a good life. Lastly, maybe you give up something else. I don't know what you want to give up in your life, but I want you to be thinking, what's something you can give up right now so you can have a better future and live in a true freedom down the road? Does that make sense at all? Yeah, raise your hand if that makes sense. Okay, cool. So what we are going to do right now is we have about 15 of us. So we're going to have you guys go over here on this table, right there with my wonderful lady over there who looks like she's a joke because of her shirt, but I promise you, Bella is not. But yeah, so you guys go ahead and bring up your chair and go over to Bella.